The Basques are an indigenous ethnic group characterized by the Basque language, a common Basque culture and shared ancestry to the ancient Vascones and Aquitanians. Basques are indigenous to and primarily inhabit an area traditionally known as the Basque Country, a region that is located around the western end of the Pyrenees on the coast of the Bay of Biscay and straddles parts of north-central Spain and southwestern France. The Basques are known as Euskaldunak in Basque, the Vasco in Spanish, Basque in French and English, Vasco in Gascon and Portuguese. Etymology of the word Basque. The English word Basque may be pronounced BSK or BASK and derives from the French Basque, which is derived from Gascon Basco, cognate with Spanish Vasco. These, in turn, come from a Latin Vasco, plural Vascones. The Latin labial velar approximant with generally evolved into the bilabials B and beta in Gascon and Spanish, probably under the influence of Basque and Aquitanian, a language related to Old Basque spoken in Gascony in antiquity. Several coins from the 2nd and 1st centuries BC found in the Basque Country bear the inscription Barscunes. The place where they were minted is not certain, but is thought to be somewhere near Pamplona, in the heartland of the area that historians believe was inhabited by the Vascones. Some scholars have suggested a Celtic etymology based on Bares, meaning summit, point, or leaves, according to which Barscunes may have meant the mountain people, the tall ones, or the proud ones, while others have posited a relationship to a Proto-Indo-European root *bar meaning border, frontier, march. In Basque, the people call themselves the Euskaldunak, singular Euskalden, formed from Euskal and dun. Euskalden literally means a Basque speaker. Not all Basques are Basque speakers. Therefore, the neologism Euskatar, plural Euskotarak, was coined in the 19th century to mean a culturally Basque person, whether Basque-speaking or not. Alfonso Irigoyen claimed that the word Euskara comes from an ancient Basque verb enortzi, to say, and the suffix sara. Thus Euskara would literally mean a way of saying, way of speaking. One item of evidence in favor of this hypothesis is found in the Spanish book Compendio Historial, written in 1571 by the Basque writer Esteban de Garibay. He records the name of the Basque language as Euskara. It may, however, be a writing mistake. In the 19th century, the Basque nationalist activist Sabino Aranyu posited an original root Eusko which he thought came from Eguzquico. On the basis of this putative root, Aranyu proposed the name Euskadi for an independent Basque nation, composed of 7 Basque historical territories. Arana's neologism Euskadi is still widely used in both Basque and Spanish, since it is now the official name of the autonomous community of the Basque Country. History. Since the Basque language is unrelated to Indo-European, it has long been thought to represent the people or culture that occupied Europe before the spread of Indo-European languages there. A comprehensive analysis of Basque genetic patterns has shown that Basque genetic uniqueness predates the arrival of agriculture in the Iberian Peninsula, about 7,000 years ago. It is thought that Basques are a remnant of the early inhabitants of Western Europe, specifically those of the Franco-Cantabrian region. Basque tribes were already mentioned in Roman times by Strabo and Pliny, including the Vascones, the Aquitani, and others. There is enough evidence to support the hypothesis that at that time and later they spoke old varieties of the Basque language. In the early Middle Ages, the territory between the Ebro and Garonne rivers was known as Vasconia, a vaguely defined cultural area and political entity struggling to fend off pressure from the Iberian Visigothic kingdom and Muslim rule to the south, as well as the Frankish push from the north. By the turn of the first millennium, the territory of Vasconia had fragmented into different feudal regions, such as Sol in Labit, while south of the Pyrenees the Castile, Pamplona and the Pyrenean counties of Aragon, Sobrib, Ribagorza, and Palas emerged as the main regional entities with Basque population in the 9th and 10th centuries. The Kingdom of Pamplona, a central Basque realm, later known as Navarre, underwent a process of feudalization and was subjected to the influence of its much larger Aragonese, Castilian and French neighbors. Castile deprived Navarre of its coastline by conquering key western territories, leaving the kingdom landlocked. The Basques were ravaged by the War of the Bands, bitter partisan wars between local ruling families. Weakened by the Navarrese civil war, the bulk of the realm eventually fell before the onslaught of the Spanish armies. However, the Navarrese territory north of the Pyrenees remained beyond the reach of an increasingly powerful Spain. Lower Navarre became a province of France in 1620. Nevertheless, the Basques enjoyed a great deal of self-government until the French Revolution and the Carlist Wars, when the Basques supported heir apparent Carlos V and his descendants. On either side of the Pyrenees, the Basques lost the native institutions and laws held during the ancient regime. Since then, despite the current limited self-governing status of the Basque Autonomous Community and Navarre as settled by the Spanish Constitution, many Basques have attempted higher degrees of self-empowerment, sometimes by acts of violence. Labid, Lower Navarre, and Sol were integrated into the French department system, with Basque efforts to establish a region-specific political administrative entity failing to take off to date. Geography, political and administrative divisions. The Basque region is divided into at least 3 administrative units, namely the Basque Autonomous Community and Navarre in Spain, and the arrondissement of Bayonne and the cantons of Morlaix, Licre and Tarbes-sur-Heurlus in the département of Pyrénées-Atlantiques, France. The autonomous community known as Euskal Autonomia Erkidego or in Basque and as Comunidad Autónoma Vasca (CAV in Spanish), is made up of the 3 Spanish provinces of Álava, Biscay and Gipuzkoa. The corresponding Basque names of these territories are Araba, Biscar and Gipuzkoa, and the Spanish names are Álava, Vizcar and Gipuzkoa. The BAC only includes 3 of the 7 provinces of the currently called historical territories. It is sometimes referred to simply as the Basque Country by writers and public agencies only considering those 3 western provinces, but also on occasions merely as a convenient abbreviation when this does not lead to confusion in the context. Others reject this usage as inaccurate and are careful to specify the BAC when referring to this entity or region. Likewise, terms such as the Basque government or the government of the BAC are commonly though not universally employed. In particular, in common usage, the French term Pays Basque, in the absence of further qualification, refers either to the whole Basque country, or not infrequently to the northern Basque country specifically. Under Spain's present constitution, Navarre constitutes a separate entity, called in present-day Basque Nafarroa Foru Erkidego, in Spanish Comunidad Foral de Navarre. The government of this autonomous community is the government of Navarre. Note that in historical contexts Navarre may refer to a wider area, and that the present-day northern Basque province of Lower Navarre may also be referred to as Nafarroa. While the term High Navarre is also encountered as a way of referring to the territory of the present-day autonomous community, there are three other historic provinces, parts of the Basque Country: Labid, Lower Navarre and Sol, devoid of official status within France's present-day political and administrative territorial organization, and only minor political support to the Basque nationalists. A large number of regional and local nationalist and non-nationalist representatives has waged a campaign for years advocating for the creation of a separate Basque département. While these demands have gone unheard by the French administration, population, main cities and languages, there are 2,123,000 people living in the Basque Autonomous Community. The most important cities in this region, which serve as the province's administrative centers, are Bilbao, San Sebastian and Vitoria-Gasteiz. The official languages of Basque and Spanish. Knowledge of Spanish is compulsory under the Spanish Constitution, and knowledge and usage of Basque is a right under the Statute of Autonomy. So only knowledge of Spanish is virtually universal. Knowledge of Basque, after declining for many years during Franco's dictatorship owing to official persecution, is again on the rise due to favorable official language policies and popular support. Currently about 33% of the population in the Basque Autonomous Community speaks Basque. Navarre has a population of 601,000, its administrative capital and main city. Also regarded by many nationalist Basques as the Basques' historical capital is Pamplona. Only Spanish is an official language of Navarre, and the Basque language is only co-official in the province's northern region, where most Basque-speaking Navarrese are concentrated. About 250,000 people live in the French Basque Country. Nowadays Basque speakers refer to this region as Iparralde, and to the Spanish provinces as Higolda. Much of this population lives in and near the Bayonne-Anglet-Biarritz urban belt on the coast. The Basque language, which was traditionally spoken by most of the region's population outside the BAB urban zone, is today rapidly losing ground to French. The French Basque Country's lack of self-government within the French state is coupled with the absence of official status for the Basque language in the region. Attempts to introduce bilingualism in local administration have so far met direct refusal from French officials. Basque diaspora. Large numbers of Basques have left the Basque Country to settle in the rest of Spain, France or other parts of the world in different historical periods, often for economic or political reasons. Historically, the Basques abroad were often employed in shepherding and ranching and by maritime fisheries and merchants. Millions of Basque descendants live in North America, Latin America, South Africa, and Australia. Miguel de Unamuno said, "There are at least two things that clearly can be attributed to Basques, the Society of Jesus and the Republic of Chile." Chilean historian Luis Ojeda estimated that 45% of immigrants to Chile in the 17th and 18th centuries were Basque. Over 2.5 million Basque descendants live in Chile. The Basque have been a major influence in the country's cultural and economic development. A large wave of Basques emigrated to Latin America. Substantial numbers also settled in North America. In addition to Chile and Latin America, they settled in Argentina, Colombia, Cuba, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, Uruguay and Venezuela. Basque place names are to be found, such as New Biscay, now Durango, Biscayne Bay, Zacatepeques, Antigua, Guatemala and Jalapa, Aguirre or Aguirre Point in the United States, and the Nuevo Santander region of Mexico. Nueva Vizcaya was the first province in the north of the Viceroyalty of New Spain to be explored and settled by the Spanish. It consisted mostly of the area which is today the states of Chihuahua and Durango. In Mexico, most Basques are concentrated in the cities of Monterrey, Saltillo, Reynosa, Carmona, Vargard, and the states of Jalisco, Durangard, Nuevo León, Tamaulipas, and Coahuila. The Basques were important in the mining industry. Many were ranches and vaqueros, and the rest opened small shops in major cities such as Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Puebla. In Guatemala, most Basques have been concentrated in Zacatepeques Department, Antigua Guatemala, Jalapa for 6 generations now, while some have migrated to Guatemala City. The largest of several important Basque communities in the United States is in the area around Boise, Idaho, home to the Basque Museum and Cultural Center, host to an annual Basque Festival, as well as a festival for the Basque diaspora every 5 years. Reno, Nevada, where the Center for Basque Studies and the Basque Studies Library are located at the University of Nevada, is another significant nucleus of Basque population. Elko, Nevada sponsors an annual Basque festival that celebrates the dance, cuisine and cultures of the Basque peoples of Spanish, French and Mexican nationalities who have arrived in Nevada since the late 19th century. Texas has a large percentage of Hispanics descended from Basques who participated in the conquest of New Spain. Many of the original Tejanos had Basque blood, including those who fought in the Battle of the Alamo alongside many of the other Texans. Along the Mexican-Texan border, many Basque surnames can be found. The largest concentration of Basques who settled on Mexico's northeastern frontier, including the states of Chihuahua, Durangard, Coahuila, Nuevo León, and Tamaulipas, also settled along Texas' Rio Grande River from South Texas to West Texas. Many of the historic hidalgos, or noble families from this area, had gained the titles and land grants from Spain and Mexico. They still value the land. Some of North America's largest ranches, which were founded under these colonial land grants, can be found in this region. California has a major concentration of Basques, most notably in the San Joaquin Valley between Stockton, Fresno and Bakersfield. The city of Bakersfield has a large Basque community, and the city has several Basque restaurants, including Noriega's, which won the 2011 James Beard Foundation America's Classic Award. There is a history of Basque culture in Chino, California. In Chino, 2 annual Basque festivals celebrate the dance, cuisine, and culture of the peoples. The surrounding area of San Bernardino County has many Basque descendants as residents. They are mostly descendants of settlers from Spain and Mexico. These Basques in California are grouped in the group known as Californios. Basques of European, Spanish, French and Latin American nationalities also settled throughout the western U.S. in states like Louisiana, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Oregon, and Washington.